So, Pap, one of the things I've been wanting to talk to you about, and it is obviously um, uh, not just peripheral, but it's right on point with a lot of the things that we talk about on this program, and obviously a lot of the things that you do on a day-to-day basis, whether it's holding chemical companies accountable for their dumping their chemicals in our water, or medical makers responsible for putting out products that they haven't tested well enough for safety, is the launch of your new TV show.
Yeah, well, America's Lawyer, it is going to be launched in just a couple of weeks with RT America, and it'll show also with RT International. It shows I think it's going to show in every English-speaking country in the world, 70 million people. And the reason that's so important, Sam, is because, as we've said, you and I have talked about so many times, corporate media in the U.S. is virtually dead. I mean, it's the chances of corporate media telling these stories are just non-existent. If you turn on the television tonight and you watch the nightly news, in that hour of nightly news, you're going to see an average of 7 pharmaceutical advertisements. Now, the problem with that is when you've got advertisers like Pfizer and Merck and Bayer and Johnson & Johnson, when you have all these advertisers that you're counting on for all of your money so the CEO can make big bonuses, you're not going to run stories that talk about a pharmaceutical that might be killing people by the thousands all over the country and, in fact, all over the world. So the stories don't get told. And with RT America, the part of the agreement for me to do this story is that I got to be able to tell the stories. And if it's a oil and gas company that's polluting a river, I got to tell stories like DuPont, basically just trashing the Ohio River. And so with RT America, I'm able to do that. And so it's a very different program. I got to tell you, there's not another duplicate of it anywhere. You can't watch CNN and listen to that character, whatever his name is, the CNN, I can't think of his name right now, that is their in-house lawyer.
Right.
He's not going to, he doesn't have the ability to tell stories he's not even a trial lawyer. So he doesn't have stories like this, and certainly his network would not even allow him to tell those stories. So it's a very different product. There won't be another one like it.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's impossible to imagine it. I mean, for a couple of reasons. I mean, one, as you say, and and if there's any doubt, and I don't know why people would necessarily have any doubt about it, but if there was any doubt that these advertisers, I mean, you can just look to something, even like a small. There was a big scandal about Vice, maybe about a year and a half ago, that Vice was actually changing their coverage of the NFL because they were hoping to do some type of program with the NFL in the future. I mean, this is the way these news outfits are just part of a larger entertainment package.
Yeah.
And they exist to make money. And they don't want to offend their primary customer, which is these big corporate, many times malfactors.
Yeah, Sam, it's amazing. Here, again, this is a program that will show to 70 million people. Every English-speaking country in the world will hear America's Lawyer. And they're going to be hearing from the lawyers that actually have the big pharmaceutical cases that show you. We'll be hearing from the clients that have suffered because of whatever that pharmaceutical company did. We're going to hear from the best environmental lawyers in the world talking about a company trashing a major waterway. Those are not stories that you will ever hear from corporate media. And so the advantage I have is, A, we've reached out to lawyers all over the country and said, look, if you have filed a case, the only stipulation is the case has got to be filed, and that we have to be supplied documents, and we have to be able to talk to a client. And the show will focus on that case for about the first half of the show, and then we'll be talking about a kind of a diverse bunch of issues dealing with the law. So I think the importance of America's Lawyer is when I tell you there will not be another show like it. I promise you that will be the case. When we talk about the talc case of Johnson & Johnson and how Johnson & Johnson knew about the dangers of their powder decades ago and how they intentionally covered it up, we're not just going to say it. We'll actually have the documents up on a screen where we show you that, and we'll have the lawyer who actually tried the cases against Johnson & Johnson on the show. So it's a very different product.
And I got to say, one of my special requests, too, is that I think so little attention, particularly on the left, is paid to the Supreme Court, but also particularly even beyond that, as a subset of things that are ignored in terms of the court, is the question of how the court, and even in this instance, you know, the 4-5 split that we've seen for years is often far greater when it comes to barring access to the courtroom. Is this a topic that you guys will be talking about? Because again, these are topics that we hear nowhere else.
Well, we'll be it's impossible to talk about a legal story now without involving the backstory dealing with the Chamber of Commerce or Associated Industries or ALEC. And it's impossible to tell the stories without showing what links these organizations are going to, so these stories are never told. As a matter of fact, RT America, as soon as we start doing these stories, is just going to be covered up with lobbyists calling about how dare you. But the difficulty is RT has the guts to say, you know what, this is what we're going to do. We don't get money from your advertising. We think this story is important, and we're going to run it anyway. And that's the commitment I got from RT America and RT International to do the show. And when they show it in every English-speaking country in the world, sometimes it's going to be showing right in the backyard of a company that might be manufacturing the product. And so the politics really come home to roost right there in their backyard. I'm a trial lawyer. I've spent countless hours pouring through documents that tell the story about the ugliest side of corporate America. Fraud. Corporate media refuses to talk about these issues. The conduct by this company was deplorable. I'm going to paint a clear picture about how disturbing, how corrupt corporate conduct has become in modern America. These are stories that no one else can tell. I'm Mike Papantonio, host of America's Lawyer. Question more. We're uncovering stories every day on America's Lawyer that nobody's talking about. If you have a case that you want us to talk about, get in touch.